What must it have sounded like? On the morning of the 14th of June, 1940, the citizens of Paris awoke not to the familiar hum of their city, but to a chilling, alien sound echoing through the streets. A voice, broadcast from loudspeakers, spoke in a thick German accent, announcing a new reality. A curfew was to be imposed at 8 p.m. that very evening. The announcement was the auditory confirmation of a sight that would haunt the French psyche for generations. German troops were marching into their capital, the famed City of Light. The occupation had begun. The arrival of the German army was not a surprise born of a sudden, violent battle for the city's heart, but rather the grim, preordained conclusion to a catastrophic collapse. The French government, facing the unstoppable tide of the German advance, had already abandoned its people, departing Paris 4 days earlier on the 10th of June. 2 days after that, on the 12th of June, the government, now relocated to Tours, made a fateful declaration. Paris was to be an open city. This declaration was an act of surrender disguised as preservation, a public statement that there would be no resistance, that the capital would not be defended. The rationale was to spare the architectural and cultural jewel of France from the ravages of modern warfare, to prevent its utter destruction. The consequence, however, was that the path was cleared for an unopposed and deeply humiliating entry. The speed of the French defeat was nothing short of stunning, a shock that reverberated across the globe. Before the war, the French army was widely considered the most powerful military force in Europe, a belief anchored in the memory of its victory in the First World War and the supposed impregnability of its defenses, most notably the Maginot Line. Yet between the 9th of May and the 22nd of June in 1940, a remarkable and terrifyingly efficient German assault on northwest Europe, a campaign that would become known as the Battle of France, shattered this reputation completely. German armies, in a masterful stroke of strategy, simply outflanked the static Maginot Line fortifications and pushed deep into the French heartland. The campaign resulted not only in the capture and subjugation of France, but also in the swift conquest of 3 other nations: Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Belgium. By the time German tanks finally rolled onto the boulevards of Paris on that fateful June day, the city was already a ghost of its former self. An estimated 2 million Parisians, nearly 2/3 of the population, had already fled in a desperate exodus, leaving behind a hollowed and fearful capital to face its new masters. The German occupation wasted no time in establishing its grim authority. In short order, the dreaded German Gestapo went to work, and the mechanisms of a police state began to grind. Arrests, interrogations, and pervasive spying became the new order of the day, seeding an atmosphere of terror and suspicion. The ultimate symbol of this new reality was hoisted high above the city for all to see. In a meticulously staged spectacle designed for maximum psychological impact, German soldiers raised their swastika emblazoned flag atop the Arc de Triomphe, the monument to French military glory. As the stark black symbol on its red field flew over the monument, humiliated French officials could only stand by passively, their impotence a public testament to their nation's fall. This calculated act of dominance, this visual desecration of a sacred national symbol, did not cow the people of Paris. Instead, it created an even greater and more profound hostility, a silent, burning resentment that would simmer beneath the surface of the occupation for years to come. This sense of profound national shame was captured in a single poignant image that would circulate around the world, a photograph of a Frenchman weeping openly on a Parisian street as a German army parade marched past. The image, captured in the raw early days of the Nazi takeover, became an enduring symbol of the collective heartbreak and humiliation experienced by the French people. The final, formal act of subjugation came on the 22nd of June. As part of the Armistice agreement France was forced to sign with Germany, the terms were brutally clear. Germany would occupy the entirety of northern France, and, in a strategic move to control the seas, all of France's Atlantic coastline down to the border with Spain. Yet the ultimate humiliation was not in the terms themselves, but in the theatrical and vengeful setting chosen for their signing. Adolf Hitler, in a move of calculated historical retribution, insisted that France's formal capitulation to his Nazi juggernaut be acknowledged in the very same railroad car in which the armistice ending the First World War had been signed 22 years earlier. This was not merely a political act, it was a carefully choreographed piece of historical theater designed to erase a German shame and impose it, magnified, upon the French. For the Parisians who remained, life under occupation descended into a dreary litany of frustrations, pervasive shortages, and daily humiliations. The city's rhythm was dictated by the occupators, A strict curfew was in effect from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m., and as night fell, the once vibrant city of light was plunged in an enforced, suffocating darkness. The basic necessities of life became scarce luxuries. Beginning in September of 1940, the German authorities imposed a strict rationing of food, tobacco, coal, and clothing, reducing daily existence to a constant struggle for survival. The occupation was a relentless assault on both the body and the spirit. While the city's value as a direct military objective was limited, its symbolic importance was immeasurable. Paris was not just a collection of buildings and streets, it was the heart of France, a global icon of culture, liberty, and art. The struggle for its soul was understood by all sides.
Whoever would eventually liberate France's capital would gain a decisive advantage, not just in the war, but in determining the political fate of post-war France, ensuring that the city's future and that of the nation itself remained a prize of monumental significance.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts or next video ideas.